58%. Chapter 341 Shocked Nature Elves. Have all of you from the Holy See gone mad? We are envoys from the sacred land of elves. Are you trying to start a war with our natural elf empire by attacking us? Inside the central military tent, a group of beautiful natural elves were shouting. Anger and disbelief filled their delicate and beautiful faces. They had never expected to be attacked by the Holy See before their arrival. According to the plan, after their meeting with the high-ranking members of the Holy See, they were supposed to go to the elf garden in the dark forest. But as soon as they arrived here, they were captured by the powerful members of the Holy See. Due to the sudden turn of events, they didn't even have time to inform the natural elf queen about the attack. Now, their powers and equipment were all sealed. The natural elf queen couldn't even contact them. At this moment, as they looked at the large number of powerful members of the Holy See surrounding them, some of the natural elves began to show signs of fear. They were not afraid of dying here. They were afraid of being enslaved by these members of the Holy See. In the human world of the bountiful Great Lands, there had been incidents where natural elves were sold at high prices as slaves. Although these incidents were rare, they did happen. Because of this, the sacred land of elves had threatened and warned the three human kingdoms multiple times, but with little effect. There were always greedy humans willing to take the risk. And it wasn't just the trade of natural elves. There were also trading markets for beastmen, foxmen, clammen, naga, and others in the dark corners of the bountiful Great Lands. Natural elves were synonymous with beauty and purity. They were highly favored by the nobles of the human kingdoms. They were very worried that they would end up in such a situation. After all, their powers were sealed now, and they couldn't even commit suicide. Just at this moment, an elderly man wearing a bishop's robe appeared, surrounded by a group of temple knights. Seeing this person, one of the natural elves exclaimed, "Bishop Rachel, is this how the Holy See treats its guests? We are envoys from the natural elf empire." Bishop Rachel, one of the demigod powerhouses of the Holy See. The Holy See had a total of 7 demigods. Their strength far surpassed the transcendent level forces in the dark forest. Among them, the most powerful demigod was the Pope of the Holy See. Unfortunately, the Pope of the Holy See was a heretic and was killed by Angelia in the city in the clouds. I represent Her Majesty, the Queen of the Natural Elf Empire, and I demand to see your Pope. Forget about it, Bishop Rachel said calmly. Wallace has already been judged by the holy decree. Upon hearing this, the bound natural elves were instantly shocked. Indeed, Her Majesty the Queen's deduction was correct. Pope Wallace of the Radiant Church has truly fallen. As for who would dare to judge the Pope of the Radiant Church? They do not know, nor dare to imagine. The leader, a peak saint-ranked natural elf, took a deep breath and said, "Bishop Rachel, we have come on the orders of Her Majesty the Queen, hoping that the Radiant Church can cease the war with the kingdom of Kilias and restore peace to the bountiful lands. Beings from another world invading our world. They are our enemies. And, you must release us now." Bishop Rachel glanced at her and said, "The great Lord of Holy Light has descended upon this world. All races in the world should embrace the Holy Light and become followers of the Lord. Believe in the Lord and gain eternal life. Those who do not believe in the Lord are heretics and have only one path to death. This includes your natural elf empire." After speaking, Bishop Rachel no longer paid attention to the shocked natural elves and gave orders to several temple knights beside him, "Escort them to the kingdom of heaven and bring along the spoils of war we have seized, all to be offered to the great Lord of Holy Light." "Yes, Bishop." The temple knights respectfully obeyed the orders. They then took out forbidden magic chains and bound all the natural elves present, dragging them out of the central military tent. It was only until now that these natural elves finally understood why the Radiant Church launched this war. It turns out that the Radiant Church had long ago allied with the Overlord from that other world, who established the Kingdom of Heaven, and was helping that Overlord conquer the bountiful Great Lands. But the question is, how could an empire-level power, like the Radiant Church, bow their heads to an Overlord from another world? Could it be that the Overlord is the Lord of Holy Light that the Radiant Church followers believe in? This is impossible. Legend has it that the Lord of Holy Light is the creator of the Divine and Light Camp, the creator of the angel race. His status is even higher than that of the Goddess of Light. According to the sacred scriptures of the Radiant Church, the Goddess of Light is also a subordinate deity under the Lord of Holy Light. How could such a supreme existence descend upon a small floating island world? They couldn't make sense of it. Furthermore, what does it mean to offer them to the Lord of Holy Light? However, No matter what they thought in their hearts, after all the preparations were made, a fully organized team of temple knights escorted them towards the direction of the dark forest. They were moving quickly and would arrive in at most 2 days. On the side of the kingdom of heaven. After establishing the power of the kingdom, Lin Yu returned to the newly renovated Hall of the Overlord and activated the summoning black hole. As the territory upgraded to a city, the summoning authority of the 12 winged angels was also unlocked. This means that he can now directly summon 12 winged angels of the 3rd level. 59%. Chapter 342. The size of the angel army increased dramatically. As Lin Yu communicated with Myriad World's floating island and activated the summoning black hole, Lin Yu's reserve of gold coins instantly plummeted to 1,100,000. After opening over 800 stronghold treasure chests, Lin Yu's total reserve of gold coins reached around 69 million. This time, he consumed approximately 68 million gold coins and summoned a total of 24 large-scale angel legions, with a combined total of over 1,226,000 angels. Just this summoning caused the total size of Lin Yu's angel army to double, reaching an astonishing number of 230,000. What does it mean to have a 230,000 angel legion? Once this news spreads, it will not only shock the professionals on the island, but also terrify the local forces of the floating island world. Under Lin Yu's gaze, countless angels flew out from the summoning black hole. In the blink of an eye, the Grand Hall of the Overlord was filled with the presence of angels. Each angel emitted a sacred radiance, pure and untouchable. After descending, they regrouped into reorganized angel legions and retreated to the outer territory square, making space for the angels summoned later. This summoning lasted a full 10 minutes before it ended. Approximately 800,000 holy angels and 400,000 fallen angels were summoned. There were also a large number of Cerberus appearing. Although the scenes featuring Cerberus were not many, their combat power was unquestionable. Whether on the battlefield of the mountainous giant kingdom or in the war against the undead army of Bone Temple, these Cerberus performed remarkably. Countless enemies were eaten or torn to pieces by them. As far as Lin Yu knew, some Cerberus had already advanced to the level of demigod. Their overall strength was no less than that of 6 winged angels of the same level. When combined with their knight, the fallen angel, their combat power became even more formidable. Soon, all 24 large-scale angel legions were summoned. The first floor of the Hall of the Overlord was filled with a vast sea of angels. At a glance, whether holy angels or fallen angels, they all possessed high-ranking positions. The pairs of massive angel wings were dazzling and radiant. Praise you, great Lord of Holy Light. May the Holy Light be eternal. May the Holy Master be everlasting. The holy angels bowed respectfully towards Lin Yu. As for the fallen angels, they directly knelt before Lin Yu, shouting to the Supreme Creator. Their blood-red eyes were filled with endless fanaticism. Rise. Lin Yu smiled and raised his hand. With a sweep of his gaze, he saw a large number of special angels. Angel of Retribution, Artisan Angel, Angel of Love, and many more, totaling several hundred. In addition, among the 24 leading 10-winged angels, 2 angel lords appeared, wearing crowns and holding scepters. This was something Lin Yu hadn't expected, because the probability of summoning command-type angels was already low. He never expected that after the 10-winged angel Lord Alice, 2 more angel lords would appear in succession. Indeed, upgrading the level of the territory can increase the probability of summoning various angels. In addition, the chance of summoning 2 angel lords at once is related to summoning over 1 million angels this time. After all, the more there are, the greater the chance. However, Lin Yu did not give names to these 2 angel lords. He didn't have many in stock. It was first come, first served. After encouraging these high-ranking angels, Lin Yu let them retreat. Next, they would lead their respective angel legions to participate in the war against undead creatures at night. With over 1 million angels participating in the battle, the war gains during the night would skyrocket. At Lin Yu's current level, he no longer cared much about obtaining primal energy. Gold coins were what he hoped to obtain, because gold coins could help him summon even more angels. After all the angels had retreated, Lin Yu once again opened the summoning black hole. According to the summoning ratio provided by Myriad World's floating island, for every 500,000 2-winged angels, which equated to 10 large-scale angel legions, 1 12-winged angel could be summoned. Now, he had around 2,300,000 angels under his command. In other words, he could summon 4 12-winged angels at once. As for the cost, it would be 400,000 gold coins. For Lin Yu at the moment, this was nothing at all. Even if it were 4 million gold coins, he would not hesitate. After all, 12 winged angels were of the third level. The renowned Seraphim, Wisdom Angel, and Throne Angel were all 12 winged angels. They were also the highest ranking angels among ordinary angels. At the same time, 12 winged angels were the limit that the floating island world could summon. For example, 14 winged angels, 16 winged archangels, and 18 winged grand archangels were basically impossible to summon in this small floating island world, because their initial level reached the true god level. After a moment, 4 figures emitting powerful auras flew out of the summoning black hole. 3 white and 1 black. 59%. Chapter 343 New Special Angel. 3 12-winged holy angels. 1 12-winged fallen angel. Under Lin Yu's command, besides Victoria, Gladys and Sylvia were also once 12-winged fallen angels. They descended to this world by lowering their status. Now, they have only restored to the level of 8-winged fallen angels. However, Lin Yu had asked Gladys and learned that their lowered status was only temporary. Even if they haven't restored to the level of 12-winged fallen angels in the floating island world, their status can be restored on the spot when they enter the myriad world's battlefield and become deities. So the loss is not that great. When Lin Yu learned this, he breathed a sigh of relief. In his opinion, Gladys and Sylvia, who were once godlords at their peak, lost their divine status and their rank dropped to the level of mortals when he summoned them to the floating island world. Their sacrifice was too great. Now that he knows they can recover quickly, he feels much more at ease. He doesn't think about it anymore. Lin Yu's gaze falls on the 4 12-winged angels in front of him. Among them, there is someone he is familiar with, the 12-winged throne angel, Vivian, who now controls his City of Angels. Lin Yu didn't expect that he would summon Vivian right after unlocking the summoning permission for 12-winged angels. It's quite a coincidence. Vivian. Lin Yu looks at the beautiful and holy 12-winged throne angel, Vivian, and says, "You were originally the god-level throne angel of the divine domain. Now that you have descended to the floating island world, your rank has plummeted to the level of a mortal. It's quite a loss. Praise you, merciful Lord." Vivian quickly says, "You don't have to worry about me. When I first connected to the City of Angels, I eagerly anticipated being summoned by you. Now my wish has come true. It is an honor for Vivian to serve you in her true form." When Vivian looks at Lin Yu, her expression is excited and her gaze is extremely fervent. Clearly, she is speaking from the heart. For Vivian, being a god-level 12-winged throne angel in the divine domain was extremely boring and meaningless. Because in the divine domain, there is a massive army of angels, and there are countless 12-winged angels like her. To be precise, there are billions of them. One more or one less doesn't make a difference. And above them, there are many 14-winged angels overseeing them. Being able to secure a spot in the floating island world is incredibly exciting for her. Countless 12-winged angels envy her. Compared to serving the Lord of Holy Light and being by the side of the great Lord of Holy Light, her previous god-level power is nothing, and she doesn't mind losing her rank to that of a mortal. What's the big deal about plummeting to the level of a mortal? After all, she is still a 12-winged angel. Returning to her peak is only a matter of time, and her recovery speed will be countless times faster than normal cultivation. As long as she enters the myriad world's battlefield, she will soon be able to return to the level of a godlord. So, she doesn't regret losing the great divine power of a godlord. On the contrary, she is incredibly excited to have the opportunity to serve by the side of the Lord of Holy Light. Upon hearing Vivian's words, Lin Yu simply nods with a smile. He sees Vivian's efforts. In the future, he must find an opportunity to compensate this beautiful 12-winged throne angel. Then, Lin Yu looks at the other 2 12-winged angels. One is a 12-winged throne angel, just like Vivian. The other one is somewhat special. She wears a white gown and holds a staff made of white jade. However, her staff is different from the staffs of the Seeker angels. At the top of her staff is a 9-pointed star wrapped in a circle, and in the middle of the staff, there is a decoration in the shape of angel wings. Looking at her information panel, she is indeed a special angel. And she is a special angel that has never appeared before. 12-winged angel. Type: Paradise Angel. Initial level: Demigod Peak. Growth potential: Inferior Throne Godlord Peak. Possesses divine arts: Radiance of Light, Paradise of the Lord, Great Prophecy Divine Art. Introduction. Paradise Angel is one type of special angel. Their main job is to create a world with a firm belief environment for believers. Even evil creatures will quickly change their beliefs and embrace the holy light in the world created by paradise angels. Special passive. In the presence of paradise angels, the power of faith contributed by believers is tripled, cannot be stacked. Paradise angel. Just by looking at the information, one can tell that she is a support type angel. She is not good at combat. But her special passive is something other angels don't possess, and it is very useful. Because the power of faith is crucial for Lin Yu. His goal is to become a deity with both laws and faith. If the power of faith is insufficient, he won't be able to condense a divine persona. So, the appearance of this paradise angel happens to solve a big problem for Lin Yu. Whether he can become a deity with dual divine personas when entering the myriad worlds battlefield depends on whether this paradise angel can deliver. Lin Yu then asks, "Do you have names?" Both the paradise angel and the 12-winged throne angel shake their heads and look at Lin Yu with anticipation, saying, "If we can receive the bestowed names from the Lord, that would be our greatest honor." From this, it can be seen that the two of them are newly born angels just born from the divine domain transmigration pool. 59%. Chapter 344 Secretary Anne's Little Hands. Lin Yu thought for a moment and then named them separately. Paradise Angel Edith. 12-winged throne angel Rebecca. Having received the bestowed names from the Lord of Holy Light, the expressions on the beautiful cheeks of the two 12-winged angels became even more excited and fervent, and they quickly praised the great Lord of Holy Light. Vivian and the 12-winged fallen angel beside her looked envious. They were all angels who had been born long ago. They had their own true names. Naturally, they couldn't receive the same benefits as the newly born angels. Lin Yu then turned his gaze to the 12-winged fallen angel. She knelt before Lin Yu with great reverence and introduced herself. Her true name was Priscilla. Before descending to the floating island, she was also a lower-level godlord with great divine power, under the command of the 18-winged fallen Grand Archangel Astia. Lin Yu checked her information panel. Initial level. Peak demigod. The 4 12-winged angels summoned were all peak demigods. Based on this alone, Lin Yu could directly declare to all the native races of the floating island that the island belonged to him. With 4 peak demigods, along with Angelia and Victoria, who were also peak demigods and 12-winged angels, even the ruler of the 36 Bay Islands, the Dragon Emperor, would have to flee with his tail between his legs. Of course, it was the same before. It could only be said that after this summoning, Lin Yu's power had become much stronger. Sweeping through this floating island world would be even easier. Lin Yu said to the 12-winged fallen angel, Priscilla, who was kneeling respectfully before him, "Lead the newly summoned fallen angels to the underground world and join Victoria. The two of you, as 12-winged fallen angels, should quickly take control of the gold mine. Victoria will provide you with the relevant information." Priscilla respectfully obeyed. "I will follow your divine oracle, Almighty Creator." After receiving Lin Yu's signal, Priscilla immediately left the Hall of the Overlord. With an army of 400,000 fallen angels, she used the teleportation array to go to the underground world. In this way, the total size of the fallen angel army in the underground world reached 700,000. This was a very terrifying number. Even the Holy Angel army, with the same size, was no match for the fallen angel army. And when the opponents were the evil races of the underground world, there was even less suspense. Lin Yu had reason to believe that with just Victoria and Priscilla, the two 12-winged fallen angels, they would be able to completely conquer the underground world. Perhaps the underground world would be conquered even before the surface world. After all, relatively speaking, the overall strength of the underground world was much weaker. The territory was also far less vast than the surface world. "You may also withdraw." Lin Yu waved his hand to Vivian and the other two 12-winged holy angels. Seeing this, the 3 12-winged holy angels respectfully left the Hall of the Overlord. Before leaving, they glanced cautiously at Angelia, who was standing beside Lin Yu, and then their beautiful figures disappeared outside the gate. Lin Yu said to Angelia, "The expansion of our territory is progressing faster than I imagined. We can almost declare war on the Beastman Kingdom in Runkle Prairie." My lord is wise. Secretary and always supported Lin Yu's decisions 100%. Even if they were not entirely correct, she would do her best to make them perfect. Angelia said, "By tomorrow, the city of the 10 throne angels built by Coral will be completed. At that time, my lord can dispatch the entire angel army to Runkle Prairie. With the cooperation of the 14 cities of the throne angels, it will be easy to conquer the beastmen on the grasslands." As for the eradication of the Dark Forest, it can be left to the other legions of the kingdom. Even without considering the angel army, the total size of the other legions of the heavenly kingdom had already exceeded tens of millions, so eradicating the Dark Forest was effortless. Lin Yu nodded. Then he said, I plan to recruit professionals from the Dark Forest as citizens of the kingdom. What do you think? Angelia quickly said, I will follow your will, my lord. Lin Yu took Secretary Anne's soft and cool little hand and rubbed it while expressing his thoughts. When I established the kingdom just now, Myriad World's floating island rewarded me with 4 subsidiary city blueprints. I plan to build these 4 subsidiary cities in the southeast, northwest regions of the Dark Forest. Let them become gathering places for professionals. As for our kingdom's capital, professionals are not allowed to enter unless under special circumstances. My lord is wise. Angelia reflexively expressed her agreement. The corner of her eye, however, was actually focused on Lin Yu's left hand that he kept rubbing. Was the Lord of Holy Light interested in her hand? After all, this was not the first time. And she had never seen the Lord of Holy Light repeatedly rubbing someone else's hand like this. On the other hand, Lin Yu was rubbing her hand absent-mindedly and couldn't help but say to Angelia, in addition, I also obtained 4 sources of the laws of origin from the floating island. I want you to advise me on them. Let's study the mysteries of time and space together. Lin Yu controlled the laws of time. Angelia mastered the laws of space. When the two seamlessly connected, it became the laws of time and space. Before the elegant secretary could speak, Lin Yu pulled her small hand and headed towards the backyard of the Lord's mansion next door. Well, it could be considered a celebration of the establishment of the kingdom. 59%. Chapter 345 Confrontation between the two armies. Just as Lin Yu and Angelia were discussing the laws of time and space, the war in the underground world became even more intense. With 12-winged fallen angel Priscilla leading a fallen angel army of 400,000, they entered the underground world and joined forces with Victoria. More cities and tribal lairs of the spider-faced empire were attacked by the fallen angel legion. From the start of the invasion war until now, in less than 5 hours, over 100 spider-faced cities and tribal lairs have been captured by the fallen angel legion. A large number of spoils of war have been obtained. Gold coins, equipment, blueprints, who knows how many. A massive amount of resources have been seized by the fallen angel legion and transported back to the holy city through the teleportation array. The number of spider-faced beings exterminated by the fallen angel legion has reached millions. A large number of fallen angels have advanced to higher levels on the battlefield. Especially those high-ranking fallen angels. They have advanced the fastest in level. Many have been promoted to saint rank, wielding the power of their domains. There are also some 10-winged fallen angels who were already at the peak of saint rank, directly breaking through to the level of demigod. It can be said that they have gained greatly. At the same time, the spider-faced empire had long received news of the invasion of their territory. They urgently mobilized their armies, attempting to encircle and suppress the scattered fallen angel legion in various regions. They even recalled the army that had been sent to occupy the gold mines to deal with the invasion from the fallen angel army. After all, while the gold mines were important, the safety of the empire and its population was even more important. If the empire was captured, what use would the gold mines be? At most, they would give birth to some strong individuals. Compared to the possible disaster of the empire's destruction, this was meaningless. However, what terrified the spider-faced empire was that they greatly underestimated the war strength of the fallen angel legion. The army they sent to participate in the encirclement not only failed to complete their mission, but was instead devoured by the gathered fallen angel army. The Holy Dominion angels who fought alongside them were tasked with providing long-range teleportation services for the fallen angel legion. Whenever a fallen angel legion was intercepted by the spider-faced army, or when there was a powerful city that was difficult to breach, the other regions of the fallen angel legion would, with the help of the Dominion angels, directly teleport to the battlefield through the Gate of Holy Light and join forces with the fallen angel legion on the battlefield to annihilate the enemy. It can only be said that the reason why the fallen angel army's attack speed was so fast, and why they achieved such a great victory. The Dominion angels from the Holy Angel camp played an indispensable role. Finally, at around 3 o'clock in the morning in the surface world, the main forces of the fallen angel army and the spider-faced empire clashed. This main force was the army sent by the spider-faced empire to the gold mine area, with a total size of over 2 million, which was urgently summoned back. Originally, their mission was to engage in battle with the great army of the Dark Elf Empire, to compete for ownership of the gold mine. As a result, they are now forced to retreat within the Empire's borders, to exterminate the fallen angels that appeared out of nowhere. On a vast black plain, two armies stand facing each other, separated by 10,000 meters. Looking ahead, there are densely packed humanoid spiders resembling an ocean. Each one is extremely ugly. Even those humanoid spiders with beautiful human upper bodies, when contrasted with the spider legs covered in black spikes on their lower bodies, do not possess any beauty whatsoever. Legend has it that the spider goddess has such an appearance. Therefore, the spider-faced spider clan also regards the spider goddess as the creator of their population. They are also the most steadfast followers of the spider goddess. The difference is that the spider goddess is an eternal deity who can transform her spider legs into two snow-white long legs. Of course, this is not important. At this moment, facing the army of spider-faced spiders, the gathered fallen angel army has already exceeded 400,000. Led by the 12-winged fallen angel Victoria. And at every moment, a large number of Gate of Holy Light appear out of thin air, teleporting more fallen angel legions from other battle zones. A great war could break out at any moment. Your Majesty. 12 fallen angel Priscilla appeared and bowed respectfully towards Victoria. Victoria glanced at her and said, "Learn from those sacred angels, address me as, Your Excellency." Priscilla's expression froze for a moment. Then she understood and respectfully asked, "Your Excellency Victoria, when shall we launch an attack on the army of spider-faced creatures across from us?" "No rush," Victoria said. "Those spider-faced creatures are also reinforcing their troops. We will eliminate them all once their various legions gather." "Understood." Priscilla nodded. But at that moment, a figure with a powerful aura suddenly appeared in the middle of the two armies. It was a demigod-level spider-faced creature. The upper body was an extremely seductive human woman. Her gaze fell upon Victoria and Priscilla, with a hint of astonishment in her eyes. As fellow demigods, she sensed her own weakness. She pretended to be calm and said loudly, "This is the territory of our spider-faced empire. No matter which race legion you come from, I command you to withdraw immediately. We can let bygones be bygones for what happened before this command." Priscilla looked at Victoria again. Victoria didn't speak, only nodded slightly. Priscilla immediately understood. The wings of the 12 fallen angels behind her trembled lightly. Their figures disappeared into thin air. 59%. Chapter 346 Instant Kill. With a "Hu-kai" sound, gushing blood soared into the sky, dazzlingly bright. A head with an extremely beautiful face flew up, but quickly shriveled at a visible speed. Including the remaining corpse, it was also devoured of all its essence. Blood, soul, magic power. All swallowed up in the blink of an eye. 12-winged fallen angel, Priscilla, grabbed the shriveled head and casually threw it, causing the head to crash in front of the army of human-faced spiders thousands of kilometers away. This action immediately shocked all the powerful human-faced spider warriors. And the camp of the army of human-faced spiders also fell into chaos. Because that was their empire's famous demigod-level powerhouse. Yet, they were killed with a single blow by the enemy. Even their souls were devoured. How could they not be afraid? The human-faced spiders with less courage almost reflexively wanted to escape. The enemy's strength was too terrifying. And seeing their own demigod being killed with a single sword, the human-faced spider warriors also had a drastic change in their expressions, feeling a chill rising from the soles of their feet to their heads. Their bodies trembled uncontrollably. So powerful, it's even more terrifying than His Majesty's strength. His Majesty might not be able to kill Lady Lainey, who is a demigod late stage, with a single move. What kind of race are these invaders? We have never seen them before. Not only are they terrifyingly powerful, but they are also extremely evil, far surpassing our human-faced spider clan. The human-faced spider clan was undoubtedly an evil race. After killing their enemies, they would eat their corpses. Some would drag the enemies' bodies back to their nests and store them as food reserves. Even in the underground world, the evil nature of the human-faced spider clan was evident and not favored by other races. However, in the face of the fallen angel, these human-faced spiders considered themselves inferior. After all, they wouldn't even eat the enemy's soul together. Lady Lainey has fallen. What should we do now? Should we retreat? Although the army of human-faced spiders seemed to be several times larger than the fallen angel's army, it was completely useless. Because their high-end combat power was at a disadvantage. The enemy's army not only had multiple demigods, but also 2 peak demigods. Their strength was strong enough to instantly kill Lady Lainey, who was at the demigod late stage. Once they engaged in battle, just those 2 peak demigods alone were enough to crush their army and cause it to collapse. In this situation, persisting in fighting would be seeking death. However, some of the human-faced spider warriors held a different view. Now that the 2 armies are at a standoff, if we order a retreat, we will undoubtedly be pursued by the enemy. At that time, the collapse of the army will be even faster. A complete defeat is not impossible. Neither fighting nor retreating. What should we do? Shall we continue to stalemate like this? By the way, let's ask for help from His Majesty and request the dispatch of more powerful reinforcements. Stalemate is not a solution. The enemy is continuously sending legions over, and their numbers will only grow larger. The longer we stalemate, the more disadvantageous it becomes for us. Quote. Upon hearing this, all the powerful spider-faced individuals fell silent. They were all at a loss. Finally, the commander of the spider-faced army spoke. If the enemy doesn't move, we won't move either. We'll wait for the Empire to send reinforcements. In addition, we have several legions on their way. Once all the troops gather, even if we have to use the bodies of our kin, we will drive the enemy out. There was no other way. The enemy had already invaded their imperial territory. They had even captured over 100 cities and tribal dens. If they didn't fight with all their might, the entire empire would be occupied by the enemy. By exerting all their strength, there might still be a chance for victory. But no matter what, after this battle, the spider-faced empire would probably not have the strength to compete with the Dark Elf Empire for the mysterious power of the gold mine. This made the spider-faced commander somewhat regretful. Intuition told it that if it could cultivate in that gold mine, it might be able to successfully ignite the divine fire and ascend to the peak of the demigod realm. Damn it! What is the origin of these enemies? They have never set foot in the underground world, as if they appeared out of thin air. Could they be from the surface world? But the problem is, we haven't heard of such a powerful race on the surface world. As time passed, the various legions of the fallen angel faction had gathered, with a total size of around 700,000. The spider-faced empire's army had also grown to over 3 million. Countless spider-faced individuals of all sizes gathered on the battlefield, their hairy spider legs giving a chilling sensation when looked at. In addition, reinforcements from the spider-faced empire had arrived. 4 demigods in total. Together with the spider commander, there were 5 demigods. Among them, one was a peak demigod. The entire spider-faced empire had a total of 2 peak demigods. One had already appeared on the battlefield. The other was the ruler of the spider-faced empire, but its whereabouts were unknown. It's about time. In the fallen angel army camp, Victoria spoke with an indifferent expression. At the same time, she reached out and pulled out a fallen angel sword from the void. Seeing this, 12-winged fallen angel Priscilla, who stood respectfully by her side, immediately gave the order to start the war. In an instant, the 700,000 fallen angels flew up into the sky in unison. The spider-faced army on the opposite side seemed to have received a signal as well. Millions of spider-faced individuals screamed and howled. Like a tsunami, they surged towards the fallen angel army. The war erupted in an instant. 60%. Chapter 347, A Night of Great Reward. Just as the war between the fallen angel legion and the human-faced spider legion reached its climax, the surface world also welcomed the first ray of dawn. Lin Yu woke up from the luxurious mansion of the city lord's residence. He rubbed his belly and felt a little full. Of course, this had nothing to do with Angelia. Purely because a night had passed, a huge amount of primal energy had accumulated in his body. Although there was the suppression of the power of creation, the primal energy would not forcefully break through his realm or burn his power of laws, but there was still a feeling of fullness, as if he had eaten too much. Victoria led the fallen angel legion to war against the human-faced spider empire. Killed a large number of human-faced spiders. The Holy Angel Legion and other kingdom troops also cleared a large number of undead creatures, wild monsters, and local Foss's strongholds last night. Naturally, a lot of primal energy was harvested. Just the primal energy harvested last night, if distributed among those professionals, it would not be a problem to directly cultivate hundreds of saint-rank powerhouses. Now, this huge amount of primal energy was forcibly suppressed inside Lin Yu's body. Naturally, there would be a feeling of being too full. Lin Yu thought for a moment and mobilized the power of creation in his body to compress that primal energy. Soon, the feeling of fullness disappeared. The next time this happens, I will continue to compress it. Wait until I want to become a god and release it all at once. Help me obtain a higher divine position. Not only primal energy, but the power of faith stored in his body could also be operated in this way. Compression was for a more powerful outbreak in the future. After everything calmed down, Lin Yu looked beside him. Under the thin silk quilt, there lay an elegant and beautiful figure. It was his secretary N. At this moment, Angelia's eyes were slightly closed, her eyelashes were curved and slender, her exquisitely beautiful cheeks were adorned with a blush, and her delicate and translucent skin seemed to be radiating with divine light. In terms of figure, Angelia was not as exaggerated as the 10-winged seeker angel Sandy. But she also had the golden ratio curves. There was not a single flaw on her entire body. Every part was exceptionally perfect and charming. Even when she was asleep, she was breathtakingly beautiful. Lin Yu didn't want to wake Secretary N, wanting her to sleep a little longer. After all, the process of studying the laws of time and space together last night lasted for several hours and consumed a lot of energy. But it had to be said. The whole process left Lin Yu very satisfied. Especially Secretary Anne's understanding of the laws of space, which benefited Lin Yu greatly. Every guidance session gives Lin Yu a brand new and wonderful experience. It makes him lose control and get lost in it. After personally consulting with Secretary N, Lin Yu has gained a deeper understanding of the mysteries of spatial laws. If nothing unexpected happens, after studying a few more times, Lin Yu should be able to master the spatial laws. If Secretary N continues to assist him wholeheartedly and seamlessly, he might be able to directly integrate time and spatial laws, forming a more powerful temporal spatial law. Overall, it was a very rewarding night. Lin Yu quietly put on his clothes and left the Lord's mansion. A new day, he can summon 10,000 angels from the angel rebirth pool. Although compared to the 1 million angels he summoned last night, 10,000 angels are nothing, but freeloading always makes people happy. However, Lin Yu didn't immediately summon them. He went straight to the newly built nature spirit mother trees and Naga palaces. Yesterday, he was too focused on studying spatial laws with Secretary N. For a moment, he forgot to upgrade these unit buildings. Immediately, Lin Yu took out a large number of territory building upgrade blueprints from his divine weapon, and upgraded all 5 nature spirit mother trees and 6 Naga palaces to level 10, the maximum level. Level 10 unit buildings can breed 10,000 units per day. In other words, he can now get 50,000 nature spirits and 60,000 Nagas for free every day. And whether it's nature spirits or Nagas with the title of evil succubus, they are all apex level units. Putting aside their combat power, at least their growth potential has reached the peak of saint rank. They are just one step away from growing into demigods. In addition, after the upgrade, the environment of Lin Yu's territory has also changed. The life and natural elemental magic power, as well as the water elemental magic power in the territory, have increased significantly. This allows the followers who possess related elemental magic power in the territory to cultivate at a faster speed. One more thing. With the territory promoted to the city level, Lin Yu's territory, the Divine City, has reached a length of nearly 300 kilometers. This is an extremely exaggerated number. It makes the Divine City look nothing like an ordinary city. It looks more like a divine city where gods reside. After all, which ordinary city has such a stunning scale? Throughout the entire floating island world, it is probably impossible to find such a magnificent metropolis, including the famous Nature Spirit Empire. Next, I will build those 4 subsidiary cities. Then announce the recruitment of professionals as citizens of the kingdom. Speaking to himself, Lin Yu's figure turned into a purple lightning and disappeared into the distant horizon. 60%. Chapter 348, Building a City. Lin Yu's speed is extremely fast. Like a lightning bolt crossing the sky. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared on the horizon. This is the power of the Thunder Law. It allows Lin Yu to possess a terrifying flying speed, no less than that of an angel's extreme speed. In addition, after a night of cultivation, Lin Yu's strength has also improved a lot. However, this has little to do with Secretary N. He extracted 4 sources of the Myriad World's floating island reward. Taking advantage of the interval after the exchange with Angelia, he successfully mastered these 4 sources of law. Now, he has mastered 14 different sources of law. This does not include the power of creation and the power of faith. It can be said that Lin Yu's current strength is very terrifying, definitely surpassing the natural elf queen of the Far East. In no time at all, Lin Yu's figure arrived at his destination. This is the central area of the Dark Forest's northern region. He is ready to build an affiliated city in this location to accommodate professionals from the northern region. Lin Yu put away the magic map in his hand and took out a blueprint for the affiliated city. The magic map in his hand is even more high level than the one that appeared in the hands of the elder of the Mountain Giant Kingdom. The elder's magic map can only display the ruling territory of the Mountain Giant Kingdom. Just like the magic map in the hands of the Dark Elf Queen. Areas beyond their influence cannot be displayed. But Lin Yu's magic map is the entire surface world map of the floating island. The 8 major regions of the floating island are clearly presented. Even the territory of the Sea Tribe located deep in the sea is marked. In the future, when Lin Yu attacks the Sea Tribe and conquers the Medusa clan, he can easily find the target with the help of this magic map, without getting lost in the vast sea. This time, when building the affiliated city, Lin Yu also used this magic map to determine the location. As the blueprint in Lin Yu's hand disappeared, a huge city shadow appeared in front of Lin Yu. After a moment, the city turned into a solid entity, lying between the mountains and forests. The 4 city walls are all over 200 meters high, looking very majestic. At the same time, the information of the city also appeared in Lin Yu's field of vision. City unnamed. Level. Low level. Affiliated kingdom. Paradise Kingdom. Ruler. Lin Yu. Buildings in the city. Lord's Mansion, Faith Statue, Central Teleportation Array. Population. 0. Prosperity. 0. Deployed troops. None. Opening square bracket. Closing square bracket. Upgrade requirements. 5 million units of wood, 10 million units of stone, 8 million units of iron ore. Special reminder. The level of the affiliated city cannot exceed the level of the capital city. Introduction. This is an affiliated city belonging to the Heavenly Kingdom, sharing the same field of vision as the Heavenly Kingdom. Any hostile actions towards this city will be considered as hostility towards the Heavenly Kingdom. Lin Yu's figure flickered and entered the city. Looking around, apart from a lord's manor, a towering statue hundreds of meters high, and a central teleportation array, there were no other buildings. Everywhere was a blank area paved with large bluestones. Just like the territory, the affiliated city also needed to be built step by step. However, Lin Yu didn't plan to personally build this affiliated city. He intended to hand over the construction task of the city to those professionals who wanted to join his kingdom. Let them use the blueprints they obtained to improve the various buildings in the city. The same goes for the other 3 affiliated cities he planned to build later. This would save him a lot of blueprints and resources to build his own capital city. As for whether those professionals were willing or not, that wasn't a problem. After all, this was their gathering place, the shelter provided by Lin Yu. If they didn't want to participate in the construction, they could only camp in the open. In addition, letting the professionals build the city themselves would give them a sense of belonging and accomplishment. In short, this was a good way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Afterwards, Lin Yu separately went to the western, southern, and eastern regions of the Dark Forest to build the other 3 affiliated cities. With this, his kingdom now had a capital city and 4 affiliated cities. He simply named the 4 affiliated cities as North City, East City, West City, and South City, dispersed in the 4 directions, guarding his capital city in the center. It could be said that the entire Dark Forest was enveloped by his kingdom's influence. Using the term complete domination wouldn't be an exaggeration. Just as Lin Yu finished building the eastern city and was preparing to return to the capital city, the holy city of Divine Sanctum, he suddenly saw a sizable territory force on his way back. Outside this territory force, there were nearly 100,000 battle professionals gathered. I didn't expect Sha Qingyu's territory to be here. Lin Yu's figure stood in the clouds, overlooking the territory below. The reason he could determine that this was Sha Qingyu's territory was because there were nearly 10,000 large and small frost dragons hovering in the sky above the territory. The roars of the frost dragons resounded one after another, sounding quite shocking. And the frost dragons were Sha Qingyu's exclusive troops. Frost dragons were not a unique troop. Other overlord professionals could also randomly obtain them. However, it seemed that Sha Qingyu was the only overlord professional in the Dark Forest who possessed frost dragons. Lin Yu didn't plan to enter Sha Qingyu's territory to take a look. But just as he was about to leave, A frost dragon measuring tens of meters suddenly flew up into the sky. And it flew straight towards Lin Yu in the clouds. On the head of the frost dragon, there was a very beautiful figure sitting. 60%. Chapter 349 Sha Qingyu's territory. In less than half a minute, the relatively large frost dragon flew up into the clouds. But it dared not approach Lin Yu, because the aura emanating from Lin Yu was terrifying to the extreme for it. Its instincts told it that Lin Yu could easily slap it to death. It instinctively felt fear. It stopped when it was about a few hundred meters away from Lin Yu. No matter how Sha Qingyu, who was sitting on its head, persuaded it, the frost dragon dared not continue forward. In the end, it was Lin Yu who took the initiative to fly over. This action made the frost dragon tremble in fear. If it weren't for Sha Qingyu's command, it would have fled with its tail between its legs. You are Lin Yu, the boss. Sha Qingyu looked up at Lin Yu. Her beautiful eyes radiated a bright light. This was her first time meeting Lin Yu. It was a bit sudden, but she could be sure that the figure before her with a terrifying aura was Lin Yu. Because her frost dragon told her that this figure did not have the aura of a native human professional, but rather that of a professional from another world like her. And on the entire floating island, there was only Lin Yu who possessed such a terrifying aura. It's me. Lin Yu nodded calmly. Upon hearing this, the light in Sha Qingyu's eyes became even brighter. She didn't expect that the legendary boss Lin Yu would be so handsome. Tall and slender figure. His face could even be described as handsome. Coupled with the platinum-colored battle armor, Lin Yu's posture appeared even more heroic and sacred. Sha Qingyu even had a feeling of not daring to look directly at Lin Yu. She speculated that this must be because Lin Yu's strength was too powerful, which instinctively made her feel awe. After all, Lin Yu was a demigod who mastered the laws. And she, with the same amount of time for development, was only at the 8th level late stage. There was a huge gap between them. Sha Qingyu took a deep breath and smiled. I never expected that Boss Lin Yu would pass through my territory. I wonder if I have the honor of inviting Boss Lin Yu to come inside my territory. Lin Yu thought for a moment and did not refuse. When Sha Qingyu was observing him just now, he was also observing Sha Qingyu. The black suit perfectly highlighted Sha Qingyu's curvaceous figure, coupled with her beautiful and delicate face, making the Summer Alliance leader appear even more beautiful and giving off a heroic feeling. No wonder she was called a goddess by those professionals. However, those professionals were just imagining it, while Lin Yu was seeing it with his own eyes now. When a beauty invites you, there is no reason to refuse. As for safety concerns, there was no need to worry. Setting aside Lin Yu's personal strength, the supreme grade true god armor, divine armor of radiance he is wearing is enough to protect him completely. Even if we look at the entire floating island world, there is no power that can threaten him. Immediately, Lin Yu flew towards the territory below. Seeing this scene, Sha Qingyu couldn't help but feel envious. Generally speaking, only professionals who have reached the transcendent level have the ability to fly. She is not even a king-level professional, so naturally she cannot fly. Let alone someone like Lin Yu, who can fly across the sky. Watching Lin Yu's figure, Sha Qingyu felt more and more free-spirited. At the same time, the battle professionals gathered outside Sha Qingyu's territory also saw Lin Yu descending from the sky. For a moment, there were cries of surprise. Damn, a transcendent powerhouse. Not transcendent, his aura is even stronger than a transcendent. Isn't he a saint-rank powerhouse? Look, he's entering Sha Qingyu's territory. By the way, why aren't the magic cannons and arrow towers in the territory attacking him? Sha Qingyu is also riding a dragon following behind him. This must be a big shot. Damn it, a bunch of idiots. That's Lin Yu, the boss. Besides Lin Yu, which professional has such great strength and can make Sha Qingyu personally go to meet him? I can't believe it. Lin Yu actually appeared in Sha Qingyu's territory. Is there some unknown secret hidden in this? I suspect that Sha Qingyu has long submitted to Lin Yu. You know what I mean. Now that's a boss, envy. On this side, Sha Qingyu led Lin Yu to visit her territory. Although the scale of her territory is far from that of Lin Yu's sacred city, there are still many buildings inside. There is not only a blacksmith workshop, but also an alchemist's mansion for potion preparation. Inside the blacksmith workshop, there are many gnomish blacksmiths crafting equipment. The nearby alchemist's mansion, however, is quiet. This is because there are no alchemists in Sha Qingyu's territory. In addition, Lin Yu also saw a building that looked like a ghost house and asked, "What is this building?" Sha Qingyu didn't hide anything and quickly explained, in response to the boss, "This is a barracks for the elite two-headed demons. It can recruit two-headed demon units by consuming gold coins. I think it's not worth it, so I have never recruited them." Compared to recruiting two-headed demons, recruiting frost giants is naturally more cost-effective. Lin Yu nodded. Strangely enough, the newly built nature elf mother tree and Naga Palace do not require gold coins to directly breed units. I don't know the reason for this. After all, the information of those unit buildings also does not indicate that they have mutated like the dark elf mother tree. This is quite mysterious. Could it be that Myriad World's floating island has given him a backdoor? 60%. Chapter 350 My King. After visiting the territory, Sha Qingyu led Lin Yu into her hall of the Overlord and they sat down. She also brought a lot of fresh fruits and meat. Although it was not as abundant as the meal's secretary and prepared for Lin Yu, the sincerity was sufficient. At this moment, Sha Qingyu couldn't help but ask, "Yesterday, I entrusted village chief Guangming to send a message to the boss, asking how to deal with those professionals outside my territory." Speaking of this, her eyes became somewhat worried. Until now, Lin Yu had not replied to her message. Upon hearing this, Lin Yu opened the Friends section and glanced at it, and indeed saw the message sent by village chief Guangming. "I was a bit busy yesterday." While picking up a piece of fruit and taking a bite, Lin Yu said, "By the way, I just built several subsidiary cities in the dark forest. One of them is located near your territory, about 80 kilometers away. You can inform the professionals outside to gather in that city later. However, only professionals who join my kingdom have the permission to enter the city, and it is only limited to the subsidiary city. My capital, Sacred City, is temporarily not open to professionals." Upon hearing this, Sha Qingyu was both surprised and disappointed. She was surprised that Lin Yu had already built a subsidiary city, the speed was terrifying. And disappointed, she also wanted to go to Sacred City to see the angels, see the elves, and see the environment of Lin Yu's daily life. But she received the message, "Not open to professionals." It was indeed a bit regrettable. Sha Qingyu asked, "Boss, are you planning to recruit professionals as citizens of your kingdom?" Lin Yu nodded slightly and said, "The war in the Dark Forest has basically ended. Professionals who join my kingdom can obtain the qualification to hunt in the Dark Forest. In other words, professionals who are unwilling to join Paradise Kingdom may be expelled from the Dark Forest or even directly killed." This attitude was very strong. But Sha Qingyu also felt it was normal. Because the floating island was a world where the weak were preyed upon by the strong. The main theme of this world was dominance. The goal of the strong was to conquer and rule everything. Those who didn't obey naturally received different treatment. Just like near her territory. If there were professionals who were unwilling to obey her orders or refused to pay protection fees, she would also choose to expel those professionals and not allow them to hunt near her territory. After all, she had put in effort to clear the enemies around her territory. How could she let outsiders enjoy the fruits of her labor? Paradise Kingdom, led by Lin Yu, was now in the same situation. After the army of Paradise Kingdom wiped out the powerful local forces in the Dark Forest, only weak monsters and forces remained. Hunting in this environment was almost without danger. Before this, professionals couldn't even guarantee their basic survival. It could be said that those combat professionals and overlord professionals indirectly received the protection of Paradise Kingdom. For them, this was a benefit. And it was impossible to obtain this benefit without paying any price. Sha Qingyu looked at Lin Yu with shining eyes and said expectantly, "Boss Lin Yu, I wonder if I can become the first professional under your kingdom." Of course, Lin Yu responded with a smile, not refusing. Joining the kingdom was just a matter of time, it didn't matter who came first. Immediately, Lin Yu communicated with Myriad World's floating island and created a confirmation panel, which he sent to Sha Qingyu. At the same time, Sha Qingyu's mind received a message prompting her to confirm joining Paradise Kingdom, with a special reminder that betraying Paradise Kingdom would come at a great cost. This special reminder was also created by Lin Yu. Although it wasn't explicitly stated, anyone who wasn't a fool would understand what the cost would be. Sha Qingyu immediately chose to agree to join. From then on, she was marked with the imprint of a citizen of Paradise Kingdom. Whether in this floating island world or in the Myriad World's battlefield, this imprint would exist. She belonged to Paradise Kingdom. She would serve Paradise Kingdom and Lin Yu, the ruler of the kingdom, for her whole life. unless she betrayed the kingdom. Sha Qingyu took a deep breath and looked at Lin Yu with a solemn expression, saying, "From now on, you are my king. I am willing to serve you, your majesty." Lin Yu smiled and said, "There's no need to be so serious, relax a bit." "Yes, your majesty." Sha Qingyu blinked her bright eyes and said. She actually wanted to call Lin Yu by his name directly, which would make it feel closer and reduce the distance. But the problem was, she didn't have the courage. Just now, she called Lin Yu, Boss Lin Yu, because there were no angels present. Those angels, they couldn't stand it if someone directly called them by their true name, God of Faith. This was not only known to her. Many professionals knew about it. Because there were professionals who claimed in the island's chat channel before that calling Lin Yu by his true name in front of the angels would be punished by the angels, and the sin seemed to be heavier than becoming a heretic. Sha Qingyu reminded herself to be careful about this issue, so as not to accidentally offend those fanatical angels because of the issue of titles. Where would she go to reason with them if that happened? 60%. Chapter 351 Sha Qingyu's Dream. I had a long conversation with Sha Qingyu in her territory. We talked about territory construction and the development of professionals. Then we talked about Blue Star and other floating island worlds. During the conversation, Sha Qingyu also gave some suggestions under Lin Yu's nod. For Lin Yu, this exchange was worthwhile. It wasn't a waste of time. He gained some insights from it. It must be said that Sha Qingyu is not only beautiful and tall with a good figure, but also has good abilities. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to create the Midsummer Night, which is known as the strongest alliance of professionals. Originally, the strongest professional alliance was the Hall of Kings led by the Golden Behemoth Overlord, and the Midsummer Night couldn't even make it into the top 5 among many alliances. Nowadays, the Hall of Kings has faded into obscurity. On the other hand, Sha Qingyu's Midsummer Night has become the strongest professional alliance, with nearly 1 million members. It can be seen that Sha Qingyu is not just a pretty face. From this exchange, it can also be seen that Sha Qingyu is an overlord professional with her own opinions and dreams. If Lin Yu, the Lord of Holy Light, hadn't appeared on this floating island, Sha Qingyu would definitely have been one of the strong contenders for the position of floating island lord. She wouldn't be inferior to men. Looking at Lin Yu's handsome face, Sha Qingyu said, "Your Majesty, when you establish Paradise Kingdom, the millions of professionals in Dark Forest will definitely be eager to join. However, the current strength of professionals is still too weak to provide enough help to Your Majesty on the path of war." Sha Qingyu's expression was very serious. She felt a bit awkward when she called Lin Yu, "Your Majesty," before. After all, they all came from Blue Star and had received higher education. But as they continued to call him that, it seemed like they got used to it. "It's okay." Lin Yu waved his hand. He didn't expect those professionals to make a significant contribution to his war plans. As long as they hunted safely and handed over their daily harvest to him, it would be enough. The issue of war would be taken care of by his angel army. Lin Yu said, "But you still need to work hard to improve your level. In gaming terms, the floating island is ultimately just a newbie village. The Myriad Worlds battlefield is the real stage. We can't go to the Myriad Worlds battlefield, let alone become gods." Understood. Sha Qingyu nodded. She also urgently wanted to grow quickly. Now, Dark Forest has been cleared by the troops of Paradise Kingdom. Almost all the slightly stronger local forces and wild monsters have been eliminated. For her Frost Dragon army, Dark Forest is almost without danger. Although the number of wild monsters and local forces has greatly decreased, safety is the advantage. Her dragon army can hunt to their heart's content. Level up faster. And she doesn't want to be bound in Dark Forest for too long. She now has a new goal. That is to make herself strong and lead her Frost Dragon Legion to sweep across this floating island world together with Lin Yu's Angel Legion. She wants to contribute to Lin Yu's path to dominance. And finally, obtain the qualification to enter Sacred City. Sha Qingyu has already figured it out. Only by entering Sacred City can she truly become a key figure in Paradise Kingdom. Being an ordinary citizen of the kingdom is not what she wants. After chatting for a while, Lin Yu left Sha Qingyu's territory. Watching Lin Yu's figure fly towards the distant horizon, Sha Qingyu inexplicably felt some admiration. In the cruel transcendent world, the weak fear the strong. Women also admire powerful men. This is the law of the jungle. And Lin Yu is a man who can make Sha Qingyu both fear and admire. If Lin Yu asked her to give herself to him, she would probably choose to dedicate herself. After all, following Lin Yu, becoming a god might be a simple matter. And, Lin Yu is so handsome. Dressed in platinum armor, he looks like a god. Which woman wouldn't be infatuated? Tisk. What am I thinking? Sha Qingyu sensed her restless inner world and shook her head hard to calm herself down. Then she came to the wall of her territory. Seeing Sha Qingyu's figure appear, the combat professionals outside immediately gathered. Miss Sha, was that Lin Yu the boss just now? I really want to know what Lin Yu did with Miss Sha during the time he stayed inside. Miss Sha, when will Lin Yu recruit citizens of the kingdom? If we go out hunting now, will we be considered heretics and killed by the troops of Paradise Kingdom? Many professionals were shouting loudly. Some of them have been here since yesterday. Outside, there are troops of Paradise Kingdom everywhere, clearing out monsters and local forces. They dare not go hunting at all. As for Sha Qingyu's territory, they can't enter either. It can be said that they are in a dilemma. Quiet down. Sha Qingyu waved her hand to make the professionals calm down, and then said, His Majesty will soon recruit professionals as citizens of the kingdom. You can now go to the eastern city 80 kilometers away. It is a subsidiary city that His Majesty has just built. In the future, that will be the gathering place for combat professionals like you. But only citizens of Paradise Kingdom can enter the city. 60%. Chapter 352 Announcement from Lin Yu. Upon hearing these words, the battle professionals present immediately erupted into cheers. This news was nothing short of a pleasant surprise for them. They had long been anticipating Lin Yu's establishment of a kingdom and their recruitment as citizens of the kingdom. After all, as battle professionals, their only better prospects lay in aligning themselves with an overlord professional like Lin Yu. Lin Yu was the best candidate, without a doubt. There was no other overlord professional on this floating island who could compare to Lin Yu. Not even on other floating islands. Lin Yu's personal strength and territorial influence had already surpassed those veteran overlord professionals from a year ago. Such a powerful overlord naturally made them want to join him. Now that they had received the news that Lin Yu was recruiting citizens for his kingdom, they were filled with excitement. This is great. I finally have the opportunity to join Lin Yu, the boss. Ever since the establishment of the Hall of Kings, I have been eagerly awaiting Lin Yu's formation of an alliance. Unfortunately, my wish has yet to be fulfilled. Of course, joining the kingdom of Lin Yu, the boss, is even better. The current alliances are all fragmented. Only a kingdom possesses cohesion and loyalty. Sha, the beauty, calling Lin Yu the boss, Your Majesty, means she has already joined Paradise Kingdom. Suddenly, the title of Your Majesty feels a bit awkward. I find it hard to say. I feel the same way, as if I've transmigrated to the medieval world. The native human social system of the floating island world is similar to the medieval world of foreign countries. The rulers of the 3 human kingdoms in bountiful great lands are all addressed as Your Majesty. If you don't want to use that title, then don't. For example, just call the boss by his real name. Don't joke around. I don't want to be killed by those angels for blasphemy. The angels of Paradise Kingdom consider the boss, Lin Yu, as their god of faith. Anyone who disrespects the boss is their mortal enemy. But right now, there are no angels here. After joining Paradise Kingdom, I'll have to get used to the title of Your Majesty, or Overlord. In any case, just don't mention the boss's name. After this conversation, the battle professionals present expressed their agreement one after another. They had seen the consequences of such matters before. They would have to be more careful in the future. Just then, a professional exclaimed, Quick, look at the island's chat channel. The boss, Lin Yu, has made an announcement. At once, the professionals present opened the island chat channel. At the same time, more professionals gathered in the chat channel. To all professionals on the island. I am Lin Yu, the ruler of Paradise Kingdom. At present, the battle in Dark Forest is nearing its final stage, and the entire Dark Forest has come under the rule of my Paradise Kingdom. I hereby issue a notice to recruit professionals, including but not limited to those from Dark Forest, to join my Paradise Kingdom and become citizens under my kingdom's banner. While fulfilling the obligations of the kingdom, all citizens will enjoy the benefits and privileges of the kingdom. The following are the rights and obligations of the kingdom's citizens. First, as citizens of my Paradise Kingdom, you must contribute 70% of your daily harvest to support the kingdom's long-term development. Second, citizens of the kingdom must not engage in infighting or start wars with each other and must abide by the kingdom's peace treaty. Third, all citizens of the kingdom must obey the orders issued by the kingdom and must not violate or slack off. Fourth, within the kingdom's jurisdiction, all citizens will receive the protection of the kingdom's military forces. Fifth, non-citizens of the kingdom are not allowed to hunt within the kingdom's jurisdiction. Once discovered, they will be expelled or even killed. Sixth, quote. Lin Yu's announcement immediately shook the entire island's chat channel. Some professionals cheered and celebrated, while many others remained silent. They felt that the contents of the announcement were too domineering. Especially the fact that if they didn't join Paradise Kingdom, they wouldn't even have the right to hunt or improve their strength in Dark Forest. If discovered, they would be expelled or directly killed. This was simply an overbearing clause. It made some professionals who didn't want to join Paradise Kingdom but still wanted to hunt under its protection very dissatisfied. The reason they didn't want to join Paradise Kingdom was that the tax imposed by the kingdom was too high. For every 10 gold coins they earned, they had to hand over 7. Who could bear that? However, Lin Yu's announcement shattered their illusions. It clearly told them that such behavior, wanting to gain without giving, was completely untenable. If they weren't discovered, it would be fine. But once discovered, the consequences would be severe. I completely understand. Put it simply, this is the difference in treatment between foreigners and locals. Nowadays, the monsters in our dark forest are just like women in our country. There aren't many to begin with. If they are taken away by foreigners, won't we locals be left with nothing? What you said makes a lot of sense. Support Lin Yu, the boss. No, support His Majesty the King. I have already received the information from the floating island and have chosen to join directly. From now on, I am also a citizen of Paradise Kingdom. Same here, instant join. In just 1 minute, the number of professionals choosing to join Paradise Kingdom exceeded 2 million. As time passed, the number continued to skyrocket. 61%. Chapter 353 The Increasingly Beautiful Secretary in Sacred City. Lin Yu took some time to look at the lively chat channel on the island. He also saw professionals accusing him of being too dominant and not giving them any room to survive. However, Lin Yu didn't care at all. He had conquered the Dark Forest, so those professionals who wanted to develop in the Dark Forest naturally had to follow his will. If they didn't want to, they could leave here and go to other regions to develop. After he ruled the entire floating island, those professionals could also go to other floating islands. In short, it is absolutely impossible to want to live under his kingdom's protection without paying a price. As the saying goes, how can others sleep soundly under his bed? He was not generous enough to share the achievements of the kingdom's army with everyone. After the kingdom's army cleared out the Dark Forest, the native forces and the number of wild monsters in the Dark Forest were already scarce. It was already a bit scarce for his kingdom's subjects to hunt, so how could he share with others? Most importantly, if he wasn't more dominant and assertive, more professionals would follow suit. After all, the taxes in Paradise Kingdom were indeed high. If they could receive protection and stable development without joining Paradise Kingdom, most professionals would choose to do so. Lin Yu intended to use the power of professionals to develop Paradise Kingdom faster, but this plan would also fail. So, in this situation, he had to be ruthless. After the announcement was sent out for an hour, Lin Yu checked the kingdom's overall information panel. Paradise Kingdom. Ruler. Lin Yu. Capital. Sacred City. Level. Low-level city. Subsidiary cities. 4. Influence. Dark Forest. Total population. Over 18.69 million, including 5.74 million Blue Star professionals. Regular legions. Holy Angel Legion, Fallen Angel Legion, Nature Elf Legion, Dark Elf Legion, Mountain Giant Legion, Naga Legion, Fishman Legion. Allies. None. Camp Faith. Holy Light. Just an hour. More than 5.7 million professionals have already joined my kingdom. And the number is still increasing. I believe it will soon exceed 6 million. Lin Yu still underestimated his appeal, or rather, his deterrence. Under his deterrence, some professionals who criticized him for being dominant and assertive also joined his kingdom. It can only be said that when people are under the eaves, they have to bow their heads. But now, most of those who join my kingdom are professionals in the Dark Forest. As for professionals in other regions, they haven't joined yet. This is certain. The reason is simple: the influence of Paradise Kingdom has not extended there yet. Lin Yu's angel army is also unable to directly deter professionals in other regions like they do with professionals in the Dark Forest. So, they are not as anxious as the professionals in the dark forest. After all, once they join Paradise Kingdom, they will immediately have to start paying taxes. No one is a fool. Most professionals in other regions plan to wait until Lin Yu's angel army kills their way over before choosing to join Lin Yu's Paradise Kingdom. This can save them a lot of income. No rush. It won't take long for the whole world to be mine. Lin Yu muttered to himself. Then he closed the kingdom information panel and returned to the Hall of the Overlord. After a night, the first floor of the Hall of the Overlord was once again piled up with a massive amount of spoils. Gold coins, equipment, blueprints, and countless other items. Even more than the harvest from the night battle before. This is because the underground world is also at war. The Fallen Angel Legion led by 12-winged Fallen Angel Victoria and Priscilla has killed millions of spider-faced creatures from last night to early this morning. Combined with the night battle on the surface world, the total harvest is naturally substantial. Just as Lin Yu was about to count these spoils, an elegant figure with a noble temperament walked into the Hall of the Overlord. It was Angelia. The morning sun poured down on Secretary Anne's curvaceous figure, giving her a golden glow. The 12 angel wings behind her emitted a dazzling divine light. Compared to before, Secretary Anne was obviously more beautiful today. Her skin was rosy and translucent. Her golden eyes radiated a brilliant light. Her figure also seemed better and fuller. Every move exuded a captivating charm. Looking at Secretary Anne in this state, Lin Yu couldn't help but sigh. The watering of the spring rain indeed made the flowers more beautiful. My lord, Angelia stepped forward and saluted. Her expression was as respectful as ever. But it was obvious that under Lin Yu's intense gaze, Secretary Anne's delicate body trembled uncontrollably, and her long and slender eyelashes quivered. Angelia had never thought that such a thing would happen to her. It was too sudden. She was not mentally prepared at all. Until she woke up this morning, she was still a little confused and felt unreal. But overall, although the process was complicated and changing, it was still very pleasant. The most important thing was that as long as the Lord of Holy Light was happy, she could accept anything. 61%. Chapter 354 Angelia's Person. After carefully observing Secretary Anne, Lin Yu suddenly exclaimed in surprise, "It seems like there has been a change in your aura." "Yes, my lord," Angelia nodded. She was more sensitive to her own changes. After thinking for a moment, she explained, "Last night, when I was serving my lord, the creative power of my lord entered my body and affected my essence." If what? Lin Yu interrupted. Angelia eagerly said, "If this continues, my essence might be able to ascend and achieve a higher level of bloodline evolution." Upon hearing this, Lin Yu's face lit up with joy. He never expected that his thing would have such a use. He truly deserved to be the Lord of Holy Light. His entire being, both inside and out, was precious. With a smile on his face, Lin Yu said, "Since there are such benefits, we should indeed persist and strive to help you ascend to the level of a 14-winged angel in the future." His goal was to cultivate Angelia into an 18-winged Grand Archangel. Originally, he thought it would be difficult, because the angel race has always had only 7 18-winged Grand Archangels. 4 in the Holy Camp. 3 in the Fallen Angel Camp. No other angel has ever been able to ascend to the level of an 18-winged Archangel. Angelia told him this. Now, knowing that the creative power can affect Angelia's essence and potentially help her reach a higher level, Lin Yu has found a feasible way and is very happy. Moreover, both the improvement process and the outcome satisfy him greatly. He expressed his generosity. Angelina glanced at Lin Yu, who was in a state of joy, and then lowered her head, saying, "Thank you for your favor, my lord. It is the honor of Angelia's life to serve by your side." The Lord of Holy Light has not returned to the divine domain. The creative divine power and divinity sealed in the integrated union in the divine domain have not returned. Even the memories are gone. So she doesn't know her identity. The tremor of her essence is not as simple as ascending to a 14-winged angel, but breaking through the limits of an 18-winged Grand Archangel and ascending to become a holy angel of chaos. In fact, she had already touched the barrier of a holy angel of chaos a long time ago. But she had never been able to break through. Until last night. At a certain moment, she suddenly sensed the tremor of her essence. She discovered that it was the creative power from the Lord of Holy Light's body that affected her essence. At that moment, she was shocked and filled with joy. The ultimate goal of the 7 of them, who were born from the original reincarnation pool, was to ascend their essence and become more powerful holy angels of chaos. But countless billions of years had passed. And not a single one had succeeded. Even Angelia herself had given up. But unexpectedly, the surprise came so suddenly. If those guys in the divine domain knew, they would probably be envious to the point of madness. Angelia muttered to herself, so, the breakthrough opportunity for an 18-winged Grand Archangel has always been with the Lord of Holy Light. Only the Lord of Holy Light's creative power can allow us to ascend our essence. But, thinking about it carefully, it seems normal. After all, the 2 holy angels of chaos recorded in the scriptures were created by the Lord of Holy Light using his creative power. And the 7 of us were born from the original reincarnation pool created by the Lord of Holy Light. One is the creative power, the other is the reincarnation pool. Naturally, their essences are different. At this moment, Angelia even wanted to directly break through the spatial channel of the floating island world and send Lin Yu, who is the Lord of Holy Light, into the divine domain. Once he returns to the divine domain and integrates with the integrated union's creative divine power and divinity, the Lord of Holy Light can restore his former peak godly position. At that time, the vast creative power source within the integrated union's creative divine power can directly help her become a holy angel of chaos. But the current Lord of Holy Light, there isn't much creative power source within his body. After all, the Lord of Holy Light's life level is only at the demigod level. It really requires accumulation day by day to have a chance to help her break through. As soon as this thought came to mind, Angelia felt a bit out of control and wanted to go crazy. But soon, she forcibly suppressed her inner desires. She couldn't ruin the plan that the Lord of Holy Light had been preparing for millions of years, and she had no right to command the Lord of Holy Light to do anything. She is an angel. She is the Holy Spirit believer of the Lord of Holy Light. Everything she has belongs to the Lord of Holy Light. She can only possess what the Lord of Holy Light gives her. If it is not given to her, even if it is placed in front of her, she cannot covet it, otherwise her essence will instantly collapse. It's like the creative divine power and divinity left by the Lord of Holy Light in the divine domain all these years. The 18-winged Grand Archangels can touch it at any time. But none of the 18-winged Grand Archangels dares to reach out and take it. That would be blasphemy against the Lord of Holy Light. On the other side, while Angelia was silent, Lin Yu suddenly seemed to see a faint flash of bloodlight on Secretary Anne's body. Thinking that he was seeing things, he didn't think much of it. He then proceeded to count the various treasures in the hall together with Secretary N. 61%. Chapter 355 Level 10 Spirit Field and Divine Stone. Soon, the loot was counted. A large number of blueprints, equipment, and potions were put on the island's trading platform by Lin Yu. Among them, the number of equipment reached nearly 150,000 pieces. This was because Lin Yu had reserved a large number of king-level equipment, transcendent equipment, and high-level supreme-grade equipment with special attributes. These reserved equipment needed to be distributed to the kingdom's apex-level troops. For example, the newly bred Dark Elves, Nature Elves, and Naga. In addition to the Angel Reincarnation Pool, the Elf Mother Tree and Naga Palace in his territory could produce a total of 120,000 apex-level troops every day. These apex-level troops did not have any equipment. They needed to be specially equipped. Unlike angels, who were fully armed from birth. After all the items that needed to be sold were sold, Lin Yu took a large amount of spirit rice seeds to the spirit field and planted them. Now, he could harvest over 4 million units of spirit rice every day. This harvest seemed astonishing, but it could only supply 1/3 of the kingdom's troops and followers. This was because the number of his kingdom's troops and followers was too large. To ensure that all troops and followers could eat spirit rice, he had to continue to work hard. However, just as Lin Yu was considering this issue, he received good news from Secretary N. Yesterday, he summoned the Paradise Angel Edith, and she could cultivate spirit rice seeds from mature spirit rice, so they no longer had to rely solely on killing enemies to obtain them. This was indeed good news. Lin Yu immediately summoned Paradise Angel Edith and entrusted her with the task of cultivating spirit rice seeds. By the way, spirit rice seeds also had different levels. From level 1 to level 9. The higher the level of the spirit rice seeds, the more spirit rice they could produce, and the greater the energy they contained. The spirit rice Lin Yu had been eating these past 2 days was grown from level 4 seeds, which didn't provide any power boost for him as a demigod, but it tasted better. However, for ordinary people, it was beneficial. After eating it for a while, they could definitely become professionals. It could also help low-level professionals advance to higher levels. Unfortunately, there were too few level 4 spirit rice seeds, and Lin Yu didn't want to share them, so he kept them for himself and those around him. Now, with Paradise Angel Edith, not only could he eat higher level spirit rice, but the other followers and troops of the kingdom also had the opportunity to enjoy this benefit. It was also at this time Lin Yu used several high-level territory building upgrade blueprints to upgrade the spirit field to level 10. What surprised Lin Yu was level 10 was not the highest level for the spirit field. It was worth noting that the buildings for his troops in the territory reached their maximum level at level 10. In contrast, the spirit field could still be upgraded. Spirit field, level 10, special attribute. Crop pet growth time reduced by 95%, yield increased tenfold, mutation probability 25%. Upgrade requirements: 5 million gold coins, 1,000 divine stones. Looking at the information of the spirit field, Lin Yu was somewhat surprised. He immediately asked Secretary N, who was standing by his side, what are divine stones? Angelia explained, my lord, divine stones are crystallized bodies containing the origin of a tributellus divine power. They are usually nurtured by the laws of a certain world. Divine stones are also very important resources for gods. They can increase the divine power within a god to a certain extent, and help gods ascend in rank. In simple terms, divine stones were similar to spiritual stones in fantasy novels and were resources for true god-level beings to cultivate. Lin Yu then informed Angelia of the upgrade information for the spirit field. Angelia said, the floating island world we are in probably doesn't have divine stones because only transcendent worlds capable of carrying true gods can nurture divine stones. When my lord enters the myriad worlds battlefield, divine stones won't be so rare anymore. That's all we can do for now. Lin Yu didn't think too much about it. When he entered the myriad worlds battlefield, he would move his royal city there as well. He would find a way to upgrade the spirit field at that time. Afterwards, Lin Yu and Angelia returned to the territory. He built and upgraded the new blacksmith workshop, alchemist's mansion, and royal resource reserve in the city, while summoning angels from the angel summoning pool. It was also at this time the professionals in the dark forest. They were converging towards the 4 subsidiary cities built by Lin Yu from various directions. Looking down from above, it was clear to see millions of professionals were moving like ants, heading towards the cities in their respective regions. For example, professionals from the northern region of the Dark Forest all went to the North City. Some professionals who were closer had already entered the city ahead of time. The 4 subsidiary cities had no guards. The city gates were wide open. But there were rules and restrictions. Only professionals who were citizens of the Paradise Kingdom could enter the cities. If anyone who was not a citizen of the kingdom tried to forcefully enter, they would receive an invasion prompt and become enemies of the Paradise Kingdom. Who would dare? 61%. Chapter 356. It's good that I didn't let you buy the land. Wow, what a huge city. Just the city walls alone are over 200 meters high. Standing beneath the city walls, I feel no different from an ant on the ground. I've seen some overlord professionals' territories before, but none of their walls could reach this height. I'm afraid even a king-level expert wouldn't be able to destroy it. Forget about king level, even a transcendent would find it difficult. After all, this is a city. Its defense and durability far surpass the walls of small town and town-level territories. To invade this city, only a saint-rank expert could do it. No wonder there are no arrow towers or magic cannons on the city walls, not even guards. Looking at the dark forest now, it can be said that there is no enemy that can destroy it. Even if it were attacked by an undead army at night, this city would still be impregnable. Lin Yu is truly amazing. So impressive. At this moment, in the vicinity of the 4 subsidiary cities in the 4 regions, there were figures of professionals appearing. Every professional who saw these cities was shocked. A city with walls alone reaching over 200 meters high, what kind of concept is this? They had never even heard of it, let alone seen it before. However, these professionals did not know that compared to these subsidiary cities, the sacred city, which is also a low-level city, was even more magnificent. The city walls reached hundreds of meters high. It was truly difficult for even a saint-rank expert to break through. The reason why the levels were the same but the scale was different was because the sacred city was the capital of the Paradise Kingdom. Naturally, it had to be more magnificent. At the same time, a large number of professionals flooded into the 4 subsidiary cities. Soon, they were dumbfounded. Because at a glance, the city was filled with empty areas, with only empty blue stone ground. The only buildings were the city lord's mansion, the central teleportation array, and a towering statue reaching hundreds of meters high. They couldn't enter the city lord's mansion. The central teleportation array could be used to teleport between the 4 subsidiary cities at the cost of gold coins. The statue was Lin Yu's statue. These 3 buildings were all added as bonuses after constructing the city on the Myriad World's floating island without consuming blueprints or resources. The statue is the likeness of Lin Yu. Although I have never seen Lin Yu, there seems to be a voice telling me that it is the belief statue of the ruler of the kingdom. I have the same magical feeling. Speaking of which, although it's just a statue, it's obvious that it shows Lin Yu's beauty and handsomeness, and even gives me an invisible pressure, as if facing a god. When Lin Yu becomes a god through belief, his consciousness will be able to connect to the statue and descend from afar. It's similar to the projection of a deity. How do you know? Isn't this knowledge supposed to be at the true god level? Because I just asked the floating island. Alright, as more and more professionals gathered in the 4 cities, the city immediately became lively. Some professionals even spent gold coins to experience the feeling of teleporting to other cities. The teleportation fee was 1 gold coin per teleport. It seemed cheap, but if you looked at the millions of professionals in the dark forest, it was quite astonishing. As expected, in the future, Lin Yu would be able to earn a large amount of gold coins just from collecting teleportation fees every day. I just went to the other 3 cities and they were also empty, with no buildings. Didn't Lin Yu mention it in the announcement? The 4 cities in the north, south, east, and west are all gathering places for us professionals. The task of building the cities is also entrusted to us. For example, wooden houses, taverns, and even arrow towers, we need to build them ourselves. Build them ourselves. Aren't combat professionals unable to use territory construction blueprints? That's outside. Lin Yu has given us the authority to build territory buildings in these 4 cities. I asked Myriad World's floating island, and it is indeed possible. But there is one problem. All the buildings built in the city belong to Paradise Kingdom. Especially special buildings and high-level buildings, once they are built, they cannot be easily dismantled. Damn it. We use our blueprints and resources, but the ownership belongs to Paradise Kingdom. Lin Yu's little scheme, my sister heard it even on Blue Star. What scheme? If you don't want to build, you don't have to. Lin Yu didn't force you. Besides, the land in the city, including the entire city, belongs to Lin Yu. It's already good enough that he didn't make you buy the land. That's true. By the way, is your sister pretty? Introduce her to me when you go back to Blue Star. Get lost. Before long, the construction of the 4 affiliated cities in the north, south, east, and west began in full swing. Combat professionals relied on the blueprints they obtained and purchased basic resources from the island trading platform, which had become very cheap, to build their own houses in the city. Professionals with quick thinking immediately found good locations. For example, around the central teleportation array and near the city gates. Especially the area near the city gates, it was plundered by professionals in no time, with the quick ones getting everything and the slow ones getting nothing. Because this was the fastest way to leave the city and go to the wilderness to hunt. In addition, some professionals directly set up stalls in these prime locations to sell and exchange items. As more and more professionals poured in, these originally empty affiliated cities quickly became bustling with people. 61%. Chapter 357 Lin Yu. No more passion. Sacred City. After summoning 10,000 angels from the angel reincarnation pool, Lin Yu returned to the Hall of the Overlord to prepare for another round of summoning the angel army. In addition, he also constructed the related territory buildings that were delayed last night. As the territory reached the city level, the number of blacksmith workshops that could be built increased to 10, the number of pharmacist mansions increased to 5, and the number of warehouses also increased to 10. He completed the construction of all these buildings at once. With 10 high-level blacksmith workshops, he could produce 100,000 high-level equipment pieces every day. However, there was a shortage of pharmacists in the pharmacist mansion. Lin Yu had already ordered Radiant Saintess Tiffany to contact the Radiant Church and gather another batch of pharmacists. This is the advantage of having influence. Apex-level overlords like Sha Qingyu, even if they built the pharmacist mansion using blueprints obtained from the glory item menu, still couldn't produce potions due to the lack of pharmacist agents in their territory. But Lin Yu was different. The Radiant Church was his backyard. If there was a shortage of pharmacists, he could directly dispatch them from the Radiant Church without wasting time searching. As for the warehouse, Lin Yu's sacred city was not just a city-level territory, but also his capital, so the name of the warehouse was changed to Royal Capital Resource Reserve. Moreover, the storage capacity skyrocketed. A city-level resource reserve could store 1 billion units of resources. The capacity of the Royal Capital Resource Reserve was 5 times this value, reaching a terrifying 50 billion units. In other words, Lin Yu's 10 Royal Capital Resource Reserves could store a total of 500 billion units of resources. He took out all the food and resources that had to be stored in the space barrier created by Secretary and due to overflowing, and stored them in the Royal Capital Resource Reserve. With a capacity of 500 billion units, it could fully meet the resource reserve needs of the current Paradise Kingdom. Unless something unexpected happened, there would be no more overflowing in the short term. Inside the Hall of the Overlord, a large summoning black hole floated in midair. Angels flew out of the black hole densely and continuously. Through that pitch-black passage, Lin Yu seemed to see the vast and countless city of angels, as well as the army of 10 trillion angels in the divine realm. Yesterday, when his gaze fell on the statue of the angel reincarnation pool, his consciousness suddenly descended into the vast angelic divine realm. At that moment, he truly witnessed the glory of the angelic race and their terrifying war power. Compared to the angelic army in the divine realm, the millions of angels under his command were like a drop in the ocean. There was simply no comparison. He eagerly looked forward to the day when he could truly control the 10 trillion angels in the divine realm, which would make him invincible. Just the thought of it made him feel incredibly excited and stimulated. However, Lin Yu also knew that this was not something that could be rushed. Because his strength was still too weak. Angelia had told him that all the 10 trillion angels in the divine domain were adult angels. The weakest among them were demigods, and there were countless true god-level angels. Even godlord level 12 winged angels like Vivian were so numerous in the 10 trillion angelic army that they couldn't be counted. If he couldn't level up, how could he qualify to command and give orders? Was it just because of the title, Lord of Holy Light? I must end the war on the floating island as soon as possible. I can't wait to become a god on the myriad worlds battlefield. Since witnessing the glory of the angelic divine realm, Lin Yu had a feeling that the longer he stayed on the floating island, the more he was wasting time. He wanted to leave now. In addition, he also felt that he no longer had any opponents on the floating island. Neither Runkle Prairie, nor the natural elf empire in the Far East, nor the dragon race on the 36 Bay Islands could match his Paradise Kingdom. On this island, he seemed to have lost his passion. Perhaps the only thing that could still attract him was the position of Island Lord that every professional dreamt of. Speaking of which, how can one become the Island Lord? This question was asked by Lin Yu to the Myriad Worlds floating island. Soon, he received a reply from the Myriad Worlds floating island. To rule at least 5 major regions under your command and defeat at least 5 empire-level forces. In that case, it's not difficult at all. Lin Yu quickly calculated. The 5 major regions were Dark Forest, Runkle Prairie, Abundant Land, Sacred Land of Elves, and the 36 Bay Islands. The 5 empire-level forces were the Beast Tribe Court, the Natural Elf Empire, Dragon's Nest, the Human-Faced Spider Empire, and the Dark Elf Empire. If the Radiant Church's allegiance also counted as defeating, then it would be even simpler. I will launch an attack on Runkle Prairie immediately. Conquer the great grasslands of the Beast Tribe Court in one fell swoop, and then send other troops to eliminate the local forces and wild monsters on the grasslands. Take down Runkle Prairie within 2 days. Deal with the Natural Elf Empire and the Dragon Race within 5 days. That's decided. 61%. Chapter 358 Departure to Runkle Prairie. Soon, all the angels were summoned. A total of over 60 million gold coins were consumed. The total number of summoned angels exceeded 1 million once again. Thus, Lin Yu's angel army reached a terrifying total of 3,500,000. Among them, the size of the Holy Angel army was 2,300,000. The size of the Fallen Angel army was 1,200,000. The newly summoned fallen angels were sent by Lin Yu to the underworld as usual, to cooperate with the Fallen Angel army led by Victoria and Priscilla, to carry out combat missions together. If nothing unexpected happens, today, the Fallen Angel army will be able to conquer the Spider-Faced Spider Empire. The Spider-Faced Spider Empire is also an Empire-level force. After destroying the spider-faced Spider Empire, the Island Lord Conquest mission to eliminate 5 Empire-level forces will also make progress. Lin Yu looked at Angelia standing quietly beside him and asked, "How is the progress of the City of Angels?" Angelia respectfully replied, "To my lord, in about an hour, the rune engraving work of the 7th Throne Angel City will be completed. In other words, 6 City of Angels have already been completed. Then we don't need to wait." Lin Yu said, "Recall all the Holy Angel Legion that was sent out for hunting, and gather the Transcendent, Saint rank, and Demigod powerhouses of the kingdom. Launch an attack on Runkle Prairie immediately. With the 4 Throne Angel cities that were already there. Paradise Kingdom now has a total of 10 Throne Angel cities. With 10 Throne Angel cities, combined with the 2,300,000 Holy Angel army and the powerhouses of the kingdom, there should be no problem conquering the Beastmen Court in Runkle Prairie. Not to mention, he and Angelia are also there. Even if there are several peak demigods hidden in the Beastmen Court, they will be annihilated." "Yes, obeying the Great Lord of Holy Light." Angelia respectfully obeyed the order. Then she conveyed Lin Yu's command. Soon, the Holy Angel Legion and the powerhouses of the kingdom who were hunting in various areas of the Dark Forest all used the nearby teleportation array to return to Sacred City. In the sky above Sacred City, 10 Throne Angel cities were suspended in the clouds. Each Throne Angel city emitted a sacred radiance. They were 8,000 kilometers long and completely white, as if they were made of sparkling white jade. A large number of magic cannons were installed on the city walls, indicating their terrifying war power. After 12-winged Throne Angel Vivian returned, she immediately took control of these City of Angels with her consciousness. She will take over these City of Angels in the upcoming war against the Beastmen Court. Generally speaking, one 12-winged angel can control 10 Throne Angel cities. Each Throne Angel city is equipped with a large angel legion of 50,000. In total, there are 500,000 troops. This is consistent with the summoning ratio provided by the Myriad Worlds floating island for 12-winged angels. After the recent summoning, Lin Yu now has 9 12-winged angels, 6 of which are holy angels and can control 60 City of Angels. When a new City of Angels is built, Lin Yu will continue to send another 12-winged holy angel to take control. The construction of the City of Angels has never stopped. And with the recent summoning, the number of artisan angels has also increased significantly. From initially having only Coral and Marianne, it has now increased to nearly 200, which is enough to build a medium City of Angels. The City of Angels that Lin Yu currently owns are all small in scale. Medium City of Angels is larger in scale and has more terrifying war power. According to Artisan Angel Coral, a medium City of Angels can accommodate 1 million angels, which is 20 large angel legions. A war fortress, 1 million angel army. What does this mean? Simply put, to attack forces like the spider-faced Spider Empire, it is enough to send a medium City of Angels directly, without the need to reinforce troops repeatedly. Before long, the 2 million holy angels squeezed into the 10 Throne Angel cities. They set off mightily towards Runkle Prairie, thousands of kilometers away. Angelia was also in the camp of the army. Lin Yu habitually handed over the command of the angel army to Angelia, secretary, and has never let him down. Plus, after last night's frank communication, Lin Yu trusts secretary and even more. However, Lin Yu himself did not set off with the army. He will descend to the battlefield when the angel army attacks the core stronghold of the Beastmen Court. The central teleportation array of Sacred City is connected to the teleportation arrays of each City of Angels. With the central teleportation array, he can directly descend to the battlefield without the need to travel thousands of kilometers. And at the same time the angel army led by Lin Yu set off. The Beastmen Court in Runkle Prairie also received the news simultaneously. An old figure rushed straight to the temple of the Beastmen imperial capital. He had a small and slender figure, a fox-like face, and a gray-white tail dragging behind his buttocks. This figure is a member of the Fox clan of the Beastmen, the Fox tribe. "Your Majesty, something big has happened." As soon as he rushed into the temple, the old fox man screamed in panic. 62%. Chapter 359 Beast King. The imperial capital of the Beastmen is the stronghold of the Beastmen clan. It is larger in scale than the royal capital of the Giant Kingdom. It is home to the largest number of beastmen in the world, and they possess considerable individual strength. The beastmen are a very peculiar race. On their bodies, one can see many characteristics of wild monsters, and even magic beasts. Their appearance looks like a combination of beasts and humans. All beastmen walk on two legs. Their humanoid forms vary among different races. There are foxmen, leonmen, tigermen, wolfmen, piggies, dogheads, swans, clams, bimens, and rabbitmen, among others. The beastmen have many branches. The total population of their species even surpasses the three major human kingdoms in the fertile lands. However, the social system of the beastmen is relatively primitive. They are not good at farming. The food of the beastmen usually relies on grazing, hunting, and raiding other beastmen tribes. The beastmen also have a strong desire for aggression. It is said that a long time ago, Runkle Prairie was not the territory of the beastmen. There were many other races living here, and even gathering points for humans. But now, Runkle Prairie is dominated by the beastmen. Many races have been forcibly assimilated or even wiped out by the beastmen. The only race that has survived until now is the Goblin Kingdom, which possesses technological power. However, compared to the Beastmen Royal Court, the Goblin Kingdom is still too weak to withstand a single blow. Perhaps it is because the Beastmen have taken a liking to the manual skills of the goblins, so they have spared them. Of course, these are not important, because Lin Yu's angel army has already arrived. Imperial Temple. A remarkably burly figure sits on the throne. He looks like a lion, with golden hair all over his head, even on his face, giving off an extremely domineering, rough, and fierce feeling. He is the ruler of the Beastmen Royal Court, Beast Emperor Webster. He is a transcendent level powerhouse at the peak of demigod. He belongs to the Golden Lion race. The Golden Lion is a branch of the Leonmen, possessing powerful bloodline strength. Its combat power is second only to the Golden Behemoth. After Webster ascended to the throne as the Beast Emperor, the Golden Lion race naturally became the royal family of the Beastmen Royal Court, surpassing all other Beastmen in status. In the face of the Golden Lion, even the powerful Bimens have to bow their heads. What's the rush? Beast Emperor Webster looks down at the Fox Elder kneeling in the hall with an indifferent expression. The Fox Elder is the great prophet of the Beastmen Royal Court. But unlike the great prophet of the Giant Kingdom, the great prophet of the Beastmen is not so high and mighty. Like other beastmen, they are subject to the rule of the Beast Emperor. When formally meeting the Beast Emperor, even the great prophet must kneel. The Fox Elder, with a trembling voice, said, "Your Majesty, I saw a terrible disaster in the prophecy sphere. It is about to befall our Beastmen clan." Nonsense. Beast Emperor Webster is unwilling to believe the prophecy of the Fox Prophet. Because the Beastmen are the absolute rulers of Runkle Prairie. There is no force that can resist them. If it is an invasion from another region, the probability is also very low. In the entire floating island world, the forces that pose a threat to the Beastmen clan are the humans, nature elves, these races on the other side of the dark forest. Even if the human forces want to invade Runkle Prairie, they have to cross the dark forest. Moreover, unless all the human forces in the fertile lands unite, it is possible to bring a disastrous disaster to his Beastmen Royal Court. I dare not speak nonsense. The Fox Elder hurriedly said, "Your Majesty, I saw the prophecy sphere filled with terrible sacred and luminous power, covering our entire empire. And the source of the power comes from the dark forest. According to my speculation, the enemy is the newly established Paradise Kingdom." Paradise Kingdom. Beast Emperor Webster raises an eyebrow. His expression instantly becomes serious. He can ignore all the foreign professionals who have come to this world, but he cannot underestimate the ruler of Paradise Kingdom. Because the overlord from another world named Lin Yu only took half a month to build a powerful kingdom within the dark forest. Although there is no definite news. But he has reason to believe that the several kingdoms in the dark forest cannot suppress Paradise Kingdom. It is even possible that they have already been defeated. Of course, this is his speculation after overestimating the overall strength of Paradise Kingdom. The actual situation may not be as incredible as he imagines. I believe what you said. Paradise Kingdom will definitely become a great enemy of our Beastmen Royal Court in the future. I am planning to dispatch a large army of beastmen to the Dark Forest to help the kingdom forces there annihilate Paradise Kingdom in one fell swoop. It's too late, Your Majesty. The Fox Elder trembles and says, "If my prophecy is not wrong, the army of Paradise Kingdom has already arrived. You should immediately mobilize the legions from all regions to defend the imperial capital." 62%. Chapter 360 The Impatient Beast King. The expression on Emperor Webster's face froze instantly. The Fox clan's great prophet would definitely not dare to play tricks on him. In other words, there are two possibilities. One possibility is that the army of Paradise Kingdom has really invaded Runkle Prairie, as foreseen by the prophecy sphere. The second possibility is that the Fox clan's great prophet's divination skills have gone wrong. The scenes presented in the prophecy sphere are not real, or they are events that may happen in the future. In an extremely rational situation, Emperor Webster chose to believe the latter. Because there is no reason for the war speed of Paradise Kingdom to be so fast. Could it be that the overlord from another world has conquered and ruled Dark Forest in just half a month, and relentlessly brought the flames of war to his territory? Even if he is the reincarnation of the god of war, his desire for attack cannot be so strong. Moreover, where does Paradise Kingdom get the confidence to occupy the vast Runkle Prairie? And they think they can defeat his Beast Clan court. Seeing that Emperor Webster seems to not truly value his prophecy, or rather, underestimating Paradise Kingdom, the Fox clan's great prophet anxiously said, "Your Majesty, please believe me. This is a disaster of the end times. We must do our best to overcome this crisis." "I understand." Emperor Webster waved his hand. Then he said, "I will quickly recall several main legions of the Empire to defend the imperial capital." "That's not enough." The Fox clan's great prophet said, "You should gather all the legions of the cities, as well as the power of all the tribes. Even the Goblin Kingdom should send envoys to get their assistance. You need to concentrate all the power of the Great Grassland to resist the attack from Paradise Kingdom. Are you teaching this emperor how to do things?" Emperor Webster immediately looked coldly at the kneeling Fox clan's great prophet in the hall. A hint of anger appeared on his rugged face. This old fox is becoming more and more presumptuous. He actually dares to instruct him on what to do and what not to do in front of him. Could it be that because of his kindness to the Fox clan over the years, this old fox wants to climb on his head? He secretly decided that after eliminating the threat from Paradise Kingdom, he would punish the Fox clan severely. As for this old fox, he could also be expelled from the imperial capital. "I dare not." The Fox clan's great prophet quickly shook his head. Naturally, he did not have the courage to challenge the authority of the emperor. But the problem is, this time the situation is too serious. Every time he thinks of the scenes he saw in the prophecy sphere, he becomes extremely terrified. He could feel the impatience and anger from the Beast Emperor Webster towards him, but compared to the prophesied catastrophe and the future of the entire Beastman clan, it was nothing. The Fox clan's great prophet said, "You are the great Beast Emperor, the ruler of the Beastman clan. I dare not disrespect you. I just hope that you can take what I just said seriously." "All right, I understand," Emperor Webster said expressionlessly. He had already said that he would mobilize several main legions of the Empire to return to the imperial capital. Wasn't that enough to show his seriousness? After all, the combined scale of several main legions exceeded 1 million. In addition, there were also the Forbidden Army in the imperial capital. The scale of the Forbidden Army was also over 1 million, and they were all the elites among elites. In addition to the other Beastmen warriors in the imperial capital. The total military force in the imperial capital would exceed 3 million. With 3 to 4 million troops, plus the defensive weapons in the imperial capital, couldn't they resist the attack from the Paradise Kingdom? As for mobilizing the strength of all the beast tribes and seeking help from the Goblin Kingdom, it was simply making a fuss over nothing. When did the powerful Beastmen court need help from those weak goblins? If this were to spread, did this ruler of the Beastmen not care about his reputation? Seeing that the Fox clan's great prophet still wanted to continue rambling, Emperor Webster became even more impatient in his heart and said in a low voice, "You may leave." The Fox clan's great prophet opened his mouth to speak. But in the end, under the intimidation of Emperor Webster, he closed his mouth. Finally, he trembled and crawled up from the ground. With a long sigh, he dragged his old and hunched body out of the imperial capital temple. Watching the back of the Fox clan's old prophet, Emperor Webster snorted coldly once again. After this prophecy, his perception of this old fox plummeted. In his opinion, even if the Paradise Kingdom was crazy enough to invade Runkle Prairie, they would do it gradually from the outer regions. He had enough time to deploy his army to intercept them. There was no need to immediately defend the imperial capital. He had already mobilized several main legions to return, which was already giving face to the Fox clan's great prophet. Yet this old fox was still not satisfied. Did he really think that the people of the Paradise Kingdom were gods descending to earth, capable of sweeping everything? In reality, except for the Dark Forest's local forces, the local forces in other regions had no idea that the main force of the Paradise Kingdom was an angelic army, including Emperor Webster himself. If he knew that his opponent was the angelic race, he would definitely cooperate with the advice of the Fox clan's old prophet. With the advice of the Fox clan's old prophet.